Welcome, everybody. This is a very brief lightning talk. My name is Saleem Siddiqui, and I'll be talking about how we use Jenkins to offer training to some of our clients using the cloud. Before I get started, as Randy Posh said, if there's an elephant in the room, please introduce it. So you might be wondering, I work for ThoughtWorks, we produce Go. What am I doing at a Jenkins user conference? Here's how I look at the problem. This Jenkins, it could be anybody at ThoughtWorks. This is a pile of non-CI'd code. There's mounds and mounds of source code out there that's never been CI'd. I've had some conversations with some of you during the course of the day, and it's just become, the point has been hammered home to me that the problem of really getting continuous integration, which is something we all passionately believe in, is a large problem. Hopefully it's not a wicked problem, hopefully it's solvable, but certainly it's something we can all get behind. It's a problem that will take all of our collective efforts, and it will take all of our collective energies to solve. So I don't see actually any competition here. There's a great community of Jenkins users. Clearly this conference shows that, is proof of that. And certainly there are tools, there are opportunities in both tools and other tools like TeamCity and others that can be leveraged to really solve this really hard problem of code that has never been continuously compiled. Okay, so just quick, brief stuff about what does ThoughtWorks do. So what are we all about? So you obviously have people who are big in the industry like Martin Fowler, Jim Highsmith. There's things that we publish that actually talk a lot about things such as continuous integration, our technology radar. If you've looked at the latest version of the radar, there's a lot of stuff. I was very heartened to see Yov talking about DevOps in the morning conversation in the other room. There's a lot of stuff we talk about and we try to influence in the industry about DevOps-y kind of stuff, just combining really the roles of the developer and the ops person, and certainly CI plays heavily into that whole space. And certainly automating things such as DB deployment, something we're passionate about. We like to mingle with all of our clients of all species. So this is a lemur. This is Jeff Richney's shoulder, so probably some requirements gathering going on there. Occasionally we're caught with grainy cameras communing with Grinch and Christmas parties, but thankfully all of these videos are grainy, so no actual parties, guilty parties can be reasonably identified. So we do a lot of that, but what we're really known for, obviously, is software delivery. We write a lot of software using Agile teams all over the world, not just in one spot, in many offices, pretty much the world over. That's what we're known for. That's probably what you know ThoughtWorks does. But what you probably know less of is we also offer training. We offer hands-on training, teaching our clients to develop software the way we do it internally, the way we are passionate about it, using the kind of settings that you just saw in the previous pictures, and using tools such as Jenkins. It's in the context of this that I want to have the remainder of this conversation focused. So this is our agenda for what we offer as a 3-day training, which is Agile Developer Practices. And you will see that continuous integration and continuous delivery really are at the center of this. The whole of the class revolves around these two disciplines. So when we offer this 3-day of training, literally from day one, people start writing test-driven code. We encourage writing tests first. It's hands-on. And when you do that, the very next thing, immediately the next module is, okay, let's throw all those tests together in a CI build and put it up on a build monitor so you get that whole idea going about how important it is to actually have continuous feedback about how your code is doing. So we're developing some code in this training. Does it work or does it not work? Does it work with the code your peer wrote or does it not? That's very important. That's a very important subliminal message we try to impart to the attendees, and we use continuous integration. So this is a particular workshop that was offered in the Philippines, actually. And not just the fact that I'm talking about CI, we actually use continuous integration in a cloud-based setting for this particular class. So we use SkyCap, which is really it's VMware on the cloud. You can look them up. I believe it's a company based out of somewhere in Washington. We use that to solve the really thorny problem when you're offering training for those of you who either offer training or in that business. And the problem of control is really hard in a training environment. You want to have control over the workstations that you have so that you're not fighting workstation-specific problems. Cloud offers us that solution because we can virtualize our training environments and control them and then replicate them in classroom setup and tear down becomes almost a trivial activity. This is their diagram about how their public cloud, which could be any publicly available machines in the cloud, and then your infrastructure, your in-house, your bare metal stuff, and the hybrid cloud that SkyTab offers can be morphed into one intranet through which you can offer any kind of computing power. For us, for our training, this translation is we have our publicly available GitHub repos. We use GitHub to host the baseline of our source code for these training classes. We have Java and .NET versions for these. Both of them are hosted on different GitHub repos. We have the managed training computers, so they are on the private cloud. So they are managed in the sense that all the right tools are on there, and the attendees come in, we fire up one of these VMs, give them access to it, and we tell them it's going to compile right on day one, all the tests are going to work, and then now we're going to play these stories, and your goal is to write this code in accordance with these user stories to learn some underlying principles. We also allow unmanaged training computers. The one problem, obviously, with virtualized environments on the cloud is latency can sometimes be an issue. So we allow developers, certainly, if they want, and especially if they want to work off hours, because we turn the managed ones off to basically save on computing power after training hours. We allow them access to both the Subversion repos, so the version control lives here after hours, and they can develop on their local laptops or work environments after the class is done if they're so excited by it that they want to code at home. We certainly want to encourage that, so they can do that. So we actually have exactly this infrastructure for our training classes. So this is one of those, this is one of the dashboards for the training. So notice that there are different, this is a SkyTab dashboard. So there are multiple developer pairing stations that you can see for different developers. They're in different states, clearly at this point. Somebody's got a console of different IDEs. I believe this was a C# version of the class, so you can probably make out Visual Studio's different panes in there. And this is a Jenkins main dashboard. There's also a Radiator, which we put in, which I'll show in the next slide. And this runs on the instructor developer, which is another box on the cloud. And the idea is, as these pairs are writing and committing code, they're getting these feedback right there. And the way we do it, it's not just theoretically there. We actually put it in the classroom. In this particular class in the Philippines, they were so excited about it. The whole idea was so appealing to them to actually see that when we took the classroom picture, my colleague Darren Smith and I, and we offered this training, they wanted this build monitor front and center in the classroom picture. They were so excited by it that they actually got all the builds green. I want to identify which of the pairs actually had a lot of red builds during the class. But by the end of it, they worked hard. They got all of them green, and they were like, we want the Jenkins monitor in our picture that we wanted at the end of the class. They were so proud about it. And the good thing was this client actually had Jenkins. Part of the reason we retrofitted the class, we obviously use Go in the vanilla version. We retrofitted it to use Jenkins because the customer wanted it, this particular client wanted it. But also because when we went there and we did some interviewing, they had Jenkins, they didn't have green builds. They didn't have build monitors, so there was a URL, obviously the Jenkins URL, people didn't bother to look at them. The importance of getting the wall plugin in front of them and having them really sign up for a red build is everybody's problem. It's my problem. I can't just say that I didn't commit code, if I didn't break the build. Why should I care? Getting to that agile mindset of really a red build is everybody's problem. We fix it. That was a very important subliminal message. So we were very thankful that they actually, by the middle of the class, they felt so much ownership to these. Obviously, it's a toy application they're building. They were so invested in it that they really had this kind of back and forth jibing going on if somebody broke the build, and all the healthy activity and the healthy back and forth that goes on in Agile team. A very good message, and certainly getting the build monitor, using Jenkins, enforcing CI upon them, or certainly having them come to it, was in no small way a reason that they felt that excitement. So that's it. We actually have been using it successfully. This class has been offered in 4 countries, 10 cities in 4 countries. Several offerings of that. People always react to it very positively. Developers are really excited about it. So I'm very pleased to share this experience with you. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to take them.